I do want to thank everybody for being here this morning. This to me is a topic that's really interesting and exciting. And I think Annette's going to share some great information, and she has a great surprise at the end too. So I will let you take it away, Annette.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
My screen share going here. Can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. How many of you, well, I can see some of you. I can see some hands. I was going to ask how many of you have heard of a blue ocean? Just by show of hands. Okay, awesome. Well, this is a whirlwind tour. This is a big topic, and I want to leave a few minutes at the end for questions. So I'm going to ask you to hold your questions to the end. I want to make sure that I get you to your key takeaways and, so you can do something with this. So I'm just going to jump right in. What is blue ocean strategy? So there's a little bit of foundation setting that I need to do here. And then we'll get into, a tool called a strategy canvas and how you actually start to look at how blue oceans get built. But the basic idea is it's the simultaneous pursuit of differentiation and low cost to open up a new market space and create new demand. So differentiation, of course, is your strategic choice of how you add value in the market. And it used to be that companies chose either a high value, high cost model or a low value, low cost model. So Jaguar would be on the high value, high cost side, Walmart would be on the lower value, low cost side. And Blue Ocean came along and challenged that as a strategy and said, you don't have to do either or, it's both and. And the way you do that is you create and capture uncontested market space. And the way I like to think of it is you're creating a customer that doesn't know they exist. You're actually going outside the boundaries of your industry and you're looking for a demand that you might not even know initially exists. And this is what makes the competition irrelevant. And this is what makes it so exciting to know that you can stay out of those bloodied red waters. We'll talk about it a little bit more here in a minute. But it's based on, based on the view that market boundaries and industry structure, they're not a given. They can be reconstructed by the actions and the beliefs of industry players. So again, this has been out, probably 20, 25 years now. And it was such good news at the time, and it still is. Sorry about that. Okay. So when we talk about red oceans, we're talking about all the industries in existence today, hardware, restaurants, movie theaters, oil and gas, all the industries that are already there that you purchase products and services from. They have defined rules, competitors, and market boundaries. And typically the language of a red ocean is competition, price wars, market share, commoditization, benchmarking, strategic positioning, value added. So the way historically strategy has been done is the industry exists of X number of customers and the goal is to get a higher market share. And, there's a lot of competition, there's price wars. Personally, I blame the whole couponing thing for a great deal of the fact that everything has turned into a commodity. And and on the benchmarking side, historically, what we've done is look at the best of the best in the industry and try to emulate or model best practices. And that's actually dangerous in the sense of who's to say that somebody else's best is the best for you or the time is right, or you can even implement their best in a way that works for your business. Who's to say that you shouldn't be the benchmark? So I say I don't actually follow best practices, I invent them. So the blue ocean on the other side represents all industries that are not in existence today. So this is the key difference. And I'm going to show you some examples here in a couple of minutes. It's market space that nobody's playing in. Keywords include value innovation, focus, differentiation, creation of demand, new marketplace. So again, it's trying to create a customer that may not know they exist today. That's how you make your competition irrelevant. So the heart and soul and the guts of Blue Ocean is the thing called value innovation, and it is a leap in value for buyers and lower cost. So it's high value and low cost. That's the key indicator that you have created a blue ocean. And it's not, by the way, it's not the lowest cost. So I actually have a brand new business model for the coaching industry. And the way I have packaged it and the way I am marketing it, it's not as a premium price. It's just that the value is such a huge leap than what people typically get in the coaching process that makes a difference. So it's not the lowest cost, but it is low cost. And of course, you have to keep your own cost in alignment with that to achieve that. A couple of quick examples for time. I won't go over all of these, but Home Depot, when they popped up on the scene, there were the professional contractors, and you could go out and hire somebody and pay thousands of dollars to have something repaired or your home remodeled, or you could go down to your local Ace Hardware store and buy your supplies and do it yourself. Well, Home Depot came along and said, we're going to cross both of those industries. We're going to do both. We're going to offer advice and knowledge and expertise. We're going to offer, you can hire a contractor through them. You can also buy everything that you need for a remodel or a home project there as well. So they actually crossed two different industries to create their blue ocean. Curves, the women's gym. The time they popped up on the scene, it was either big fancy gyms and lots of complex, expensive equipment, and we still have those today. And women felt at that time that those were, pretty much a meat market, and that isn't what they really wanted. But their alternative was to work out at home, do it themselves, and they weren't getting the job done. So here came Curves. You walk in to one set of equipment. It's a 30-minute circuit. You're in, you're out. You don't even have to talk to anybody, and you're done. So they actually cross strategic groups is what that's called, across the home workout market and the gym market. And then Cirque du Soleil, this has a special place in my heart because I've always been such a fan of what they've done. I just read that they did go into bankruptcy because of the pandemic. I read that they have pulled out of bankruptcy to my delight, and they are just kind of biding their time and waiting for the right time to get the shows going again. But when they came along, you had the circus, you had the theater. And the thing is about Blue Oceans is you really have to strip out the high cost. That is one of the keys. So what they did, they took out the animals. And I remember, when the circuses went down, society was really had enough of all the abuse that animals were put through in those circuses. Cirque du Soleil came along, they kept the tents, they kept the look and the feel, they kept the acrobatics, they brought in the theater and the music and the choreography and the elegance and the design. They created a whole new customer that may have gone to the circus or may have gone to the theater or may not have gone to either one. There's new demand. You can read up, there's lots and lots of cases you can read up on Uber and Polo, Ralph Lauren. What I want to say about Amazon and Cirque du Soleil is that, Cirque du Soleil, I read that over 150 companies tried to copy them and they all failed, which is why it's not as simple as just go copy somebody else's Blue Ocean. Amazon failed trying to copy Zappos in shoes and eBay in the marketplace and Apple with the Kindle. So they still have the marketplace, they still have the Kindle, but they did not achieve the intent of a Blue Ocean when they did that. It just doesn't work to copy somebody else's for lots of different reasons. A few key principles to keep in mind. The differences, you're in a red ocean, competing in existing markets. This is the old industry view that customers only exist in this industry. So there's no real focus on bringing new customers into the industry. It's all about getting more of the customers in that pie and growing your share of the pie. Creating an uncontested market is actually bringing customers in that aren't actually there now. So for example, let's say you're a restaurant. Well, if people aren't in your restaurant, where are they? They're in another restaurant, they're at home, they're at a movie, they're at the gym, they're doing something else, but they're not in your restaurant. So Blue Ocean says we're going to look across the alternatives that people have to what we have to offer, find out why they're not with us and what we can do about that. Beating the competition, this has to, it's a typical, if I get one customer, that means you lose one. But again, under a Blue Ocean, the competition is irrelevant. It's a new demand. Exploiting existing demand, capturing new demand. We've kind of already talked about this, but the key here is that you've done a Blue Ocean well when people can't copy you, at least not in the near term. So the Body Shop is a great example. They were the first cosmetics company years ago to come out with environmentally friendly cosmetics, and they enjoyed a 10-year run with their Blue Ocean. And then instead of going off, and because other people do enter the market, and instead of going and creating another Blue Ocean, then they just kind of fell back into the bloody waters of the red ocean with price wars and coupons and discounts and blah, 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 which is, most of the retail world is still subject to. So this is not a one and done deal. It's not something that you should say, I'm going to create a Blue Ocean one time and I'm going to be done. You always have to be thinking ahead. You always have to be looking at what customers aren't with me and why, and where else am I going to look besides my own industry. Making the value cost trade-off is red ocean, and breaking that is Blue Ocean. And if you don't do this, if you don't have a leap in value and a low cost, then your competitors will be able to copy you easily. And then the last point here is you have to align your whole system of activities with your strategic choice and your cost, differentiation and low cost. And what this means is you can't have a high value, low cost offering and have high cost. So you have to align your organization and with that the way you would any other strategy that you're pursuing. So that goes to the point that value innovation only occurs when the organization has aligned innovation. Your offering, it has to be useful, the utility, you have to have a price people are willing to pay. You have to keep your cost down for you and for the customer. The market has to be ready to accept it, of course. So your timing is key. And the focus, of course, again, can't reiterate this one enough. It's both differentiation, strategic choice around value, and low cost to provide value to the customers and the organization. I know I'm going very quickly. I know there's a lot here. I will have some resources for you. So how do you even get your brain wrapped around, how do we start taking a look at this? One of the tools, and there's many, many tools that Blue Oceans offers, it's called the strategy canvas. And we're going to look at Yellowtail Wine and what happened when they popped on the scene from Casella Wines. If you look at the bottom, the x-axis, these are the factors that the wine industry competed on, at least at that time. And, if you look at the premium wines line and the budget wines line, what's really interesting is you can put 10 premium wine vineyards there and 10 budget wine vineyards there. They all look the same. There's no differentiation in the traditional way of looking at how to compete based on wine. And, price, the enological terminology, that's the aroma, the bouquet, the tannins, the nose, all those fine distinctions. That's what they mean by terminology. Heavy marketing, the aging quality of the wine, the prestige of the vineyard, the complexity of the wine range, how many whites, how many reds do you have? Those value lines look pretty similar for the premium lines and the budget wines. The budget wines, focus a little bit on that terminology, but not nearly as much as a premium. So what Yellowtail did was they came along and they said, well, who's not drinking wine? So they went and looked at beer drinkers and spirit drinkers. And what they discovered was why those people weren't drinking wine is because it's intimidating, it's complex. You need a master sommelier to help you pick out a bottle of wine. It's not fun. And so what Yellowtail did was, when you look at their value curve down at the bottom, they've got low price. They said, okay, we're going to take these factors in the industry completely out of the equation. We're not even going to bother with the fancy terminology, the marketing, heavy marketing, the age of the wine. We don't care. You know, we have a name, and you know, wine has to have a little complexity to taste like wine, but we're going to have one white and one red. That's it. But by the way, we're going to change this industry. So we're going to make 3 new areas that we're going to focus on. Easy drinking. Yellowtail wines are a little bit sweeter, much less complex, fun tasting wine. We're going to focus on ease of selection. We're going to have one white, one red, and it's going to be fun. And the way they made it fun was they didn't do any marketing. They sent Australian Outback style clothing to all the retailers to sell their wine, to wear around, to show how much fun it is to drink Yellowtail wine. And by the way, every vineyard after that put an animal on their label, it didn't work. So as I said before, it doesn't work to copy somebody else's blue ocean. You got to come up with your own. All right, so 4 actions. You know, this is one of your takeaways. So what do you think about if you want to go create a blue ocean? The first is, you know, what are the factors that the industry takes for granted that should be eliminated? So Yellowtail said we're eliminating marketing, terminology, complexity, which should be reduced. You know, they reduced the number of wines, 1 red, 1 white, which should be raised well above standard. Okay, so they said we're going to market, but we're going to do it way differently. We're going to raise the standard of how marketing is done in this industry with our fancy Yellowtail clothing. And then which factors in the industry should be created that have not existed before. So, you know, easy drinking, it's fun, it's adventurous, and it's not complex. So this is how you change the structure of the industry, is you change the factors that you're choosing to add value around and differentiate yourself and focus on. And then the 6 path framework, this is a second takeaway for you. This is another tool. It's a blue ocean strategy. There's lots of tools to use to help you think about this. So the principle of looking across alternative industries, that was the Home Depot example I gave you, contractors and hardware stores. Curves, looking across the strategic group within the industry, you know, fancy gyms and home fitness. Looking across the chain of buyers. So this Bloomberg is a great example here, because when they popped on the scene, we had Reuters and Dow Jones, and that was it for financial services information. And in all those financial service providing companies, the IT purchasers absolutely loved them. You know, it was a standard system. It made their job easier. They were done. Well, Bloomberg came along and said, wait a minute, but it's not your IT managers that's making or breaking your financial success. It's your traders. So they built a system that actually, the keyboard actually had all the different financial symbols on them. The screens and the monitors looked very different. And because day traders work long hours, they built in some things that in the downtime during the day when there's no trading, they could get some stuff done. You know, they could make airline reservations, they could buy flowers, they could go shopping on the internet, they could do all these different things. So they changed their focus from the buyer, the IT purchaser or manager in this case, and focused on the financial analysts. Looking across complementary product and service offerings, Dyson, great little vacuums, completely took the vacuum cleaner bag right out of the equation. It's another way to think about a pathway to a blue ocean. And then look across the functional or emotional appeal to buyers. Swatch, remember Swatch? When they popped up on the scene, you had functional, not fancy, not appealing, but practical watches, and they came along and totally made it the watch elegant and called it the Swatch. So they raised the emotional appeal of that to create a new demand and a new customer. And then the Body Shop did the opposite. They took sort of the exotic elements of, cosmetics buying completely out of the mix and said, we're going to focus on what's environmentally friendly. And as I said earlier, they had a good 10-year run. And then the last look across time. So some of us remember iTunes and Napster and all the hoopla over all the illegal downloading of songs and the shutdown of Napster, and the recording industry spent the next 5 years lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And they completely missed the point. People didn't want to buy albums. They wanted to buy individual songs. So here came iTunes, looking across this 5-year time of what was going on. And so it's another view of what's going on in the industry to think about how you might want to create a new blue ocean or do something different. So who do you have to be to do this? I just put obviously courageous, committed to your cause, willing to endure red ocean criticism. People really deeply entrenched in the red ocean are very threatened by things like blue oceans. So, I haven't talked about what I'm doing with my new coaching model in the coaching community, because I know at some point I'll probably be called a heretic, and I'm actually good with that. I'm just deciding when I'm ready for that. You have to be a believer in your purpose, your passion, and your value innovations, a risk taker, and a good networker for support. And you just might need a coach who can help you see around corners and anticipate what's coming next, and not just navigate the disruption in your industry, but shape it. And if your coach isn't doing that for you, get a new coach. All right, so possibilities for what's next here, and then we'll get to some questions. Lisa and I brainstormed just some ideas yesterday how we could help anyone that's interested, take these concepts forward and really start to look at your business and your industry in new ways. So I'm thinking we could do something like a coaching mastermind. I have a lot of ideas here that are not fully baked yet. I'm very open for feedback, but we could go through a couple of the books, meeting monthly. I can invite some successful people with Blue Ocean as guests to come and speak to us in a mastermind. We could look at some detailed case studies. What I would do is facilitate, some of the tools that Blue Ocean offers to think about how to do this. You would get group coaching from me, and you'd get group coaching from your peers. You'd work with others. Actually, I would put you in breakout rooms and you would work with others to create a blue ocean for your business. And then we record the meetings, of course, for anything that you wouldn't be able to make. I would want to keep each group small, to really do some good work around this topic. If you wanted to go through, there's two books around this, then 2 chapters a month, it would take us a year. So it would be a year-long commitment, but if that's too much, we could do 1 book, do like a 4-month commitment. This is not a book club where you just show up and listen to the discussion. You would be required to read the books and be working on a blue ocean of some sort for yourself. So she and I were just talking about, well, how could we just really, take this forward to the next step? So definitely let Lisa or I know if you're interested in, the idea and the conversation around it. I'm thinking for breakfast with the expert folks, a good price would be $49.95 a month for anybody that that you think would be a good fit that's not here today, it would be $69.95 a month for a couple of hours of some good coaching and exploration. And so that was just an offering, and then you'll have access to the slides here. So these are the books and some resources where you can go to learn more. And I'm going to stop talking now. So I apologize for the whirlwind tour here. But I definitely want to, if I can answer any questions, I'm happy to.
There's so much to share and so much information to cover. It's hard not to be kind of whirlwind.
Yeah, and to just even give you something to take away, you have to set a little bit of the foundation just to get to the 4 key actions and the 6 paths framework. So thank you for your patience with that.
Well, I know that Mark had some questions pre your talk. Anybody else have any questions, or Mark, were all your questions answered? Not to put, I'm truly not trying to put you on the spot, just to get a conversation going.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's such a big topic, right? And and where the company is and the journey and the team you have. I mean, there's just a lot to unpack there and figure out how you organize it and what you're, what are you going to try to tackle first? That's my thought. My head's spinning because, taking it and putting it into a plan is a key. Executing it, right? So, so I don't know. I don't know if I have questions. I need to think about it and process it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Annette, can I ask when you talk about low cost, you're not talking about, or are you talking about, because I'm familiar with Red Ocean, Blue Ocean, but you're not talking about like bargain basement pricing, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I mean, so you can, because I have just a serious philosophical issue with that, because I just think that people, especially if you're in the service industry, we have, and Lisa and I've talked about this. I mean, people in the service industry, typically, if they're a consultant or a coach, they just typically undercharge so severely anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it definitely does not mean the lowest cost. It's when you provide enough value, people are going to pay the price.
Right.
They just will.
Yeah, that's what I believe too. So
yeah, but I think the key point is, the revolutionary thing about this is, it used to be, you used to have to make a trade-off.
Right.
And you have to do that if you're in the red ocean. But not when you're creating a whole new demand. You get to own the price. You're the winner for a period of time.
Right. Right.
So.
Anyone else have questions or thoughts?
It's a lot.
One thing I like about Heidi has to hop off, but she said, thanks for the information. One thing I like about the mastermind is that it wouldn't take a full year in order to start implementing. And you'd have the support of the mastermind and the ideas and the thoughts.
Yeah, and there's so many ways to structure that. I'm so open to feedback and how different that could look. There's so many possibilities for how we could look at everything Blue Ocean offers. It was just an initial thought I put together last night, but wanted to, definitely want to offer a reduced price for you, Breakfast with the Experts members. So.
Well, I truly appreciate that. And this will be recorded for everybody to listen to again, and everyone would, Michelle's saying she would be interested in learning about the mastermind.
Okay.
It takes so little for me to, this is going to be recorded, so everybody can listen to it again. They will have information in how to reach Annette, even if you're not interested in the mastermind, as well as let me know if you're interested, and we'll just put it all together. Deb Gott is also interested in the mastermind. So
Awesome.
we have some interested people.
Lisa, it's Nancy. I just have a comment, which is that as I've been listening to this, I've realized that the adjustments that I've been forced to make in my business because of the pandemic have probably put me on the road to a broader blue ocean strategy. And I just wanted to throw that out for other people to sort of look at what you've been forced to shift and see if maybe that's a head start on this process.
Nancy, you're actually one of the people that I thought of with regard to this and how you have adjusted during this time to make your business grow and thrive.
And it's been a total game changer, no doubt about it. That I went from working with clients primarily in person to working with clients primarily virtual, which has opened up this massive new potential client base that I've cultivated all the time, but never had a way to really actualize. So it's been pretty amazing. And now my brain is really going on what else can I do with that.
Excellent.
Awesome.
And congratulations.
Thanks. It's so fun to actually make money. What a novel thought.
Mhm.
Yes, it is. And thanks for that great insight.
Well, and have a lot more fun doing it. So yeah, it's definitely a win-win.
Mhm.
A lot more fun on the blue side.
And kind of makes you wonder, why didn't I think of this before? So being forced into it is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming this morning, as always. And Annette, I truly appreciate all your hard work in putting this together and
Sure.
considering the mastermind and everything. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody. And hope to see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.